Buster Olney with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. Buster, good to talk to you again, man. Sometimes in the offseason, we go like a month or so without talking to you, and Levack and I get withdrawals. It's good to have you, not going to lie.
Well, it's right around the corner. And I'm sure that, you guys are in the same position we're in here in Westchester, that we're really sick of the winter. We can't wait for spring training.
Amen to that. Only 8 days from Yankees pitchers, catchers reporting, but hey, who's counting? Now, Buster, why did the Yankees give Alex Rodriguez the forum to apologize?
Well, first off, they understand that, Alex is going to be dealing with these questions from the media. And so they discussed with him in the meeting the other day, inevitably, when is this conversation that is going to take place between Alex and the reporters. However, I can promise you this. When you talk about, giving him the forum to just discuss things, you guys remember that apology in 2009, he had Brian Cashman sitting next to him, he had Joe Girardi sitting next to him, he had his teammates nearby. That's not going to happen. And it was part of what was conveyed to Alex was that he was going to do this separately, and it's going to look very different this time around. And I bet you part of the reason why is the Yankees don't want to put his teammates in the position of, do we go out there or do we go and support him? And that's why I think they're telling him they want this to take place before any pitchers and catchers report, long before Alex is supposed to report, because they don't want to put the other players in a weird position.
Did the apology make any difference to the organization, to Alex, at all? I mean, did it do anything?
I don't think so. The statement, the Yankees put out seemed to reflect that they're moving on. But, let's face it, let's apply some truth serum to the thing. These two sides despise each other. The Yankees don't trust Alex Rodriguez. They wish like crazy that, they wouldn't be beholden to him for at least $61 million over the next 3 years. And on the other side, Alex is, smart enough to understand that his relationship with the Yankees was ugly in 2013, and it'll probably continue to be ugly going forward. The part that I found to be pretty interesting is that in that meeting, Alex really reflected the belief that he really believes he's going to come back and be pretty good. In fact, I'm sure you guys read the quote from Barry Bonds where, he said to Barry Bonds, I'm going after your record, which seems like it's 1,000 miles away, given that Alex is, 654 home runs and Barry Bonds has 763.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you've reported several times, Buster, that the Yankees have zero expectations for A-Rod. What are your expectations? Are you in the same lines of the Yankees?
Yeah, I'd say zero, because for a number of reasons. One, he's now the 9th oldest player in baseball. He turns 40 next summer. He's got 2 surgically repaired hips. And here's the big one for me is that, and we don't know the answer to this, and Alex doesn't know the answer to this, what is he without PEDs? If you assume that he was using them in 2010, 2011, 2012, and now he got ramped up, and now he's going to have to go in and play without them. We just don't know exactly what he's going to be. And we saw, how much trouble Derek Jeter had last year after having a whole year off. And I think the same is probably in store for Alex. Probably from his perspective, the worst thing is, let's say, just for argument's sake, that he's clean now and he learned things from Barry Bonds about hitting inside fastballs, and he actually swings the bat well in spring training. What's the first thing we're all going to think? That he's cheating, that he has to be doing something. And so he's kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't position that he put himself in.
Levack's doing a dance because we had that argument yesterday where I said, there's no way we think that A-Rod cheats again because of the amount of attention he got last time and the lot of eyes that he had on him. And Levack said, no, instantly, the second that this guy starts hitting, I'm going to want him tested again.
Well, and he will be tested again, I'm sure. And, and the other part, too, is given what happened after 2009, you basically don't assume anything about him. Think about it. He was speaking to groups of children for a foundation named after the suicide death of a young man that was the foundation put together by his parents. and basically warning him off against the evils of PEDs while he was doing it. So I mean, once if you're willing to go that far, I just assume nothing. And I'm not telling you he's taking them or I have any information that he's taking them.
Yep.
I'm just telling you I'm not assuming anything that he would, about whether or not he'd be not taking them now.
Buster Olney with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team. So, Buster, just to clarify, if Alex Rodriguez is not going to have the press conference at spring training, when is the first time we're going to hear from him as the media? When is he going to have, and where is he going to have this press conference?
Well, it's going to happen in all likelihood sometime next week. I think the question is whether or not it's going to happen at Yankee Stadium with no other players around. I'm guessing that it won't be in front of a Yankee logo. Or it could be down in Tampa before the other players arrive. I don't think it's going to be in that tent that they used last time. I wouldn't be surprised if we were on a side field someplace where, Alex can meet with reporters but have a completely different optics than what he had in the 2009 one. But I think it'll happen. And from, a practical standpoint, it makes sense that he would do it because every day they're going to be reporters following him around this spring. And he might as well get that first one out of the way when he addresses all the questions about how he handled things in 2013.
Buster, are the Yankees going to finally open the checkbook? Is Yoan Moncada going to be a Yankee?
The executives I've spoken with believe that the team that's going to sign him is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Wow.
Because they have really held back some of their spending guns during this wintertime, working on infrastructure. Their biggest outlay really was in eating a lot of money to make Matt Kemp go away. And they're certainly an organization that's been aggressive in international signings. They have the same situation as the Red Sox and Yankees do, that they have 100% tax, but they just haven't spent as much money as the other teams have, and that's why I think some of the other executives think that they're going to wind up being big on them. The Padres also, by the way, are also expected to be one of the teams going big on him as well.
Now, last year, it looked like they were going to spend anything, and all of a sudden they went crazy and spent everything. So do we get into this regular season with no major move being made by the New York Yankees?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're past that point where they can make one. The only real big guy theoretically on the market right now is Cole Hamels, there haven't been discussions between the Phillies and the Yankees for weeks. They actually have enough in their farm system where they probably could put together something, but there's absolutely nothing going on. And actually, relative to what was spent by other teams, I actually think the Yankees, put out a lot of money. They spent the most money that was spent on any setup man in Andrew Miller. They spent $52 million to sign Chase Headley. So they didn't. It's not as if they didn't spend a big contract on a guy like Scherzer. They actually spent some, but they're certainly not what we're accustomed to from the Yankees, like what we saw the offseason before with Jacoby Ellsbury and Brian McCann.
Wow. Buster Olney with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Buster, is Pete Rose going to be reinstated under Rob Manfred?
I don't think he'll be reinstated per se. I am going to write a column for tomorrow basically saying it's time for baseball to find a middle ground with him because you know what? It's been long enough. The point's been made. He's been out of the game for more than 25 years. He's 73 now. He's never going to manage again. He's not going to be a general manager at any point in the future. And I think that, the perfect middle ground in my mind in a year in which the All-Stars game is going to be in Cincinnati would be for baseball to say to Pete Rose and to the Reds, look, you can go and work for the Cincinnati Reds on the non-baseball ops side, work in the community, work on behalf of the team if the team chooses you to do that, and make appearances for the ball club. Because if you go to Cincinnati and you hear fans there talk about Pete Rose, I mean, he is beloved. And it's a lot like how when you go to San Francisco, fans in San Francisco love Barry Bonds in a way that they don't in other places. And Pete Rose is a Cincinnati native. And you know what? Go ahead and let him work for the Reds. Honor him at the All-Star game. Let the Reds fans cheer him. I think we're at that point now where that's okay.
But still don't make him eligible for the Hall?
Well, and that really is a question for the Hall of Fame, and I think it's a separate question, and I don't think there's any chance that he'll get in the Hall of Fame while he's still alive.
Wow. So would you vote for him given the opportunity?
Well, and just to be clear, it's completely out of. There's no chance that that's going to happen. That writers will actually be able to vote on him. The only chance at this point, because the time has gone by the boards in which the writers would ever vote for him. The only chance he would get in the Hall of Fame would be if the Veterans Committee were to vote for him. And I can tell you flat out, that's not going to happen with the current group. I really believe that there's no chance that Pete Rose gets inducted to the Hall of Fame, not only until after he passes away, but until after a couple of generations of players pass away and they look at him with more of an open mind as opposed to what they've seen out of him in the way that he's marketed himself since he was kicked out of baseball.
Buster Olney, check out his fine work at ESPN.com. Levack and I do every single day. Buster, good to hear from you again. And you're right, man. We're covered in snow too, so maybe we can hang out one time and build a snowman together or something. That's kind of where we're at this point.
That sounds great. I'll talk to you soon.